are some natural remedies that actually work, and we utilize them all the time in the hospital. Today, I'm going to give you 10 natural cures that absolutely have evidence behind it. Not only is it absolutely delicious, but it actually has true medical uses. Now, I'm a little biased here because I absolutely love my Manuka honey with green tea, but the American Academy of Pediatrics actually recommends honey for a nighttime cough for children over the age of 1. When they compared it in scientific research to over-the-counter cough suppressants, it actually performed as well or even better than some of these cough suppressants. But we have to make sure that it's given to children over the age of 1 because of the Clostridium bacteria that can be found in honey, which is potentially lethal for children under the age of 1. And supplements. And I know you're probably like, whoa, Dr. Mike's talking positively on a supplement. There are certain uses for supplements, especially when it comes to the hormone melatonin, which is naturally secreted by the pineal gland inside your brain. This hormone actually induces a state of drowsiness, sleepiness, and it's released late at night when your circadian rhythm begins to drop. In fact, that's why I tell you to not use devices before bedtime, because when they release blue light, you actually have a decrease of melatonin secreted naturally inside your brain, thereby making it more difficult to fall asleep. Now, melatonin supplements can work in several conditions, and I use them regularly with my patients. For jet lag, when traveling to a new country and you want to reset your circadian rhythm, supplements, great way to do that. Second, in delayed sleep wake phase syndrome, where you have an individual who constantly cannot fall asleep before 2 to 4 a.m., and then they're waking up really late in the day, melatonin supplements can play a role here. Now, I'm not suggesting that you start self-medicating in all of these instances, but it's definitely a good idea to bring up melatonin with your doctor if you're suffering from one of these two conditions. Saline nasal sprays, also known as good old salt water. And I can't believe some of these companies are charging what they charge for a little bottle of water. Granted, they buffer it so it's not as irritating to the nasal passageways, and it's in a great delivery system, so I won't hate too much. That being said, nasal saline is an absolute godsend. Whether we're talking about sinus infections, colds, allergies, it does a great job at washing out your nasal passageways, thereby clearing your nasal passageways so that you can breathe. I wish we could all just swim in the ocean and clear our sinuses and passageways like that, but not all of us have an ocean near us, so for those who don't, nasal saline spray. Sugar. I bet you did not think I would say sugar has a medical utility, because it does cause a lot of medical problems. I'm going to be honest. Well, the overeating of sugar. Let's not villainize a single ingredient. It's like added sugar to something that's already sweet or doesn't need to be sweet, where sugar becomes a problem. In this case, sugar for hiccups actually works. And there's no definitive scientific research as to how it works, but there is a theory. If you let the sugar sit on your tongue, dissolve on your tongue, it will stimulate the vagus nerve, one of the main nerves of the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest nervous system, that also goes to the diaphragm. The spasming of the diaphragm is what causes the hiccup. And now, with the sugar relaxing the vagus nerve, thereby relaxing the diaphragm, cure yourself of hiccup. Another one that's also delicious and a medical remedy, specifically for eczema. But we have to make sure that we're using colloidal oatmeal, which is when you take the oat grain and you grind it down into a fine powder. Then that powder can actually be used as a skin protectant because it prevents the loss of fluid from your skin. Aloe vera. It has actually a lot of uses for skin, but one that gets me most excited is for burns, specifically sunburns. Man, do those hurt. And the Office of NCCIH actually has shown this to be true. Putting aloe vera on burns speeds up their healing and decreases pain. The reason all this happens is because aloe vera contains chemical compounds known as anthraquinones, which decrease pain, speed up healing, and is a natural way to do so. If you have an aloe vera plant, just cut it and apply. Also, be sure, if you had multiple sunburns throughout your life, even as a kid, it does increase your risk for skin cancer, and you should be getting yearly skin checks with your dermatologist or family medicine doctor. For those who never had them, prunes can actually aid in the treatment of constipation. They work in two specific ways. Not only do they contain fiber, which helps you go, but they also contain sorbitol, which is a sugar alcohol that your body doesn't digest. That actually hangs around in your intestines and through osmosis sucks water in, therefore having a laxative effect, helping you go. There's some studies that actually show that prunes work better than psyllium, which is one of the ingredients found in a lot of anti-constipation medications. Just be careful if you have IBS. Prunes can sometimes make your symptoms worse. That's why I think it's always smart to discuss first with your doctor. Lotion. It actually works on burns, itches, and irritations. A prime example of a natural ingredient that once was labeled useless by the FDA and now has found to be scientifically proven to work on minor skin irritations, specifically in cases of poison ivy. Probiotics. This one is a
Little bit of a controversial one.
If you walk into a supplement store and you read some of the labels on the supplements, it looks like probiotics fix everything and anything inside your body. And that's just simply not true. The evidence we have for probiotics comes from antibiotic-associated diarrhea. And basically what happens is when you take oral antibiotics for a skin wound, for an infection in your upper airway, it actually acts everywhere inside your body, including your gut, thereby killing the good bacteria, the probiotics. In fact, that's what probiotics actually means, because inside of our bodies and on the outside, we have a ton of bacteria living on us. And this bacteria lives in symbiosis with us. It actually helps us live, sometimes getting nutrients out of certain foods, ones that we can't digest on our own. So it's usually a healthy relationship. But now when we take antibiotics to fight off the bad bacteria, we incidentally kill the good bacteria as well. So by taking probiotics, you can actually help prevent antibiotic-associated diarrhea. As more evidence evolves, we're gonna find out more and more about the bacteria that's living in our gut. And I'm not talking about fixing something in your home. I'm talking about warts. Warts that are caused by a virus known as the human papillomavirus. You cover it in duct tape. Every 6 days you change it, and it potentially can help speed up the healing of that wart. This method actually has a scientific name called the tape occlusion method. And they found that the stickier your tape, the more likely it is to stay on for that 6-day period, the more likely that your wart is to go away. Now, there are other methods of treating warts like salicylic acid and cryotherapy, but those sometimes can be uncomfortable and painful, especially for children.